Hello. Yeah, microphone is working. Everything looks good. Yeah, I see 5 people are now watching. So yeah, thanks everybody that actually give it a try and join. It's my first session. I have no clue how it's gonna be. Like, it's a new experiment that I'm starting, so I'm really curious to see how how it feels to actually design in live streaming and trying to think out loud. It's something really new to me. So yeah, let's give it a try and see how things go. So the idea is that I'm gonna design the thinkoutloud.io. It's a Microsoft product that I recently started with a fellow indie hacker, Scotty. He's working on the technical side of the product, and I'm working on the design side of it. And yeah, we started around around 1 month ago. We came up with the idea and we're like, okay, let's do it as a side project, have fun, take it easy, and see how it goes. It's not like like a big product that we focus on scalability and high growth or anything like that. It's really just a micro SaaS tool that we want to experiment with. So yeah, let's give it a try. I'm gonna share my screen as well. Yeah, everything looks good. So the focus for today is the landing page. That's what I have in mind to design. To begin with, the idea of Think Out Loud as a tool is it's just a tool that helps you that you can use in order to see how people use your product and what they think when they use it. It's not a tool that you integrate into your actual product, like on the production version of your product. It's a tool where you can actually use to ask for feedback from people. So you add the link to your product, you send them a link where they can record their feedback, and then you receive some videos of them using your prototype, product, website, whatever you want to test. So the focus for today is the landing page. I have already designed some pages, like the page where you ask that people will see and ask for and record themselves giving you feedback. They're not finalized, and these are screens that I'm gonna work on upcoming live streams. So for today, I want to focus on the landing page and see how it goes. It's an easy step to begin with for me as well, because it's not, the complexity is not very high, and for me it's easier to design something simpler and think out loud as well in order to get a bit of the sense out of it. So let's start. Actually, let's copy the screen size. And the whole idea is I'm also viewing the live chat at this moment. So if anybody has any idea or whatever they want to discuss, feel free to type there. So the goal, as I said, is the landing page. How I usually start actually design is by sketching. So I try to think what I want to do, what's my goal, and I work on a document first just to write down what I'm trying to achieve. So I'm gonna share my screen from my iPad. That's how I usually do it, because I can write there as well, which is pretty fun. Okay, one sec. Nice. Now, yeah, from what I see, it works. Perfect. So, as I said, first thing is Think Out Loud is a tool that allows you to see how people use your product and what they think. So this is what the product actually is. That's the idea, and a simple way to explain it to somebody. So for the landing page is the page where people are gonna land when they type the domain. So if anybody wants to explore, okay, I saw this tool or somebody sent it to me or whatever, and I want to check it out, I'm gonna visit thinkoutloud.io. So thinking of the user journey, this is the first interaction. If they don't come from social media where they may show that something like I don't know, like a post or a video or a screenshot about the product. So landing page, just getting the landing page, nothing very handsome design wise. The first thing that I always ask myself is, what should this page contain? Like, how should I present thinkoutloud.io? What's very common on products online is to have a landing page where you explain the product with text, images, videos, and maybe a demo of the product as well. That's the common thing to do, where you try to make some kind of interactive presentation of the product. In general, one of the best ways actually to describe and present the product is by showing the actual product. That's why videos are always very powerful, because people can actually see the real product. In our case, what I can do is I can use, let me show you there's this product that is really cool, made from fellow indie makers, and it's a publishing tool about Twitter. And what they did is they didn't build any landing page, which is like the traditional way of going when it comes to having like the sign up flow for your product. What they did is they made the actual product, the landing page, and they just used a model. And that's super cool because you get the idea straight away, and you can also try it out. So before you decide to sign up, you can actually test the product, see how it feels, and then decide if you want to sign up. When you have a landing page with where you describe your features, like for example, let's say Hodzar, or let's take this example. Here, it's the typical way where I have a website and describe the product in detail. So I describe the benefit, I have the call to actions, I describe the features, maybe with some videos, GIFs, interactive elements, whatever. And it's a content page. They have testimonials and so on. What Typefully does is that they just show the product, and you have a login button to connect your Twitter account and actually sign up, or you can just give it a try. So here I can start using the product without even signing up. In my case, with Think Out Loud, I really feel that this is the way to go, because it's a simple tool, and you can, like Typefully, that can be used in literally one screen. And this way, there is less work to do design-wise and technical-wise, and it's also better UX-wise because people get the point straight away. So what I can do is, is the following. The audience of this page, like the user of this screen, of the landing page, is an indie maker, like a maker, let's say, I don't know, designer, whatever, that wants to test their prototype website or something else, like it could be an app, whatever. Their goal is to understand how the tool works and why they should use it, like what is the exact benefit. So the whole content will be defined by these two. This is the user of the page, and this is the goal that they have. In our case, they want to test something, like a website or an app. So in this case, it makes sense to show the actual UI of making a test behind. So for example, a test will have, let me think, we'll have a link. Is a text input for a link. A prototype, they will have to describe the scenario. So for example, here's a link for my product, and please try to sign up and tell me what you think. So they may want to test the sign-up flow, and they need to describe the scenario. They also need to describe the product. Product description, and then like it's the link, the scenario, the product description, and what else? Let me check quickly, because I have some notes on this, on what a test needs to include. What are the actual elements? The product description, the scenario. I also want to ask for the first name and their company details, like the product details. So we want name and then product. So this is the page. Ideally, we can let them create a test without making an account. In general, people don't really care about signing up. What they want is to use the product. I don't like sign up is a way, it's just technically what you need to do in order to try out a product. But as a user, I don't want to sign up. This is not what I care about. I just know that this is a way to try out most products. That's why I'm always looking for the sign up button. In our case, you don't really need to ask them to sign up. It's something we could even do on a technical level, that you create a unique URL for the test that they created and that people can actually use. That would be, though, that could introduce some complexity. So what I have decided to do is to include the sign up, but make it a later step of the process. So what I mean is that you can go straight to this page. So here is going to be, let's say, the logo. This is the black button, the logo, and these are the inputs. And here you have a button like create test, let's say. So this can be the landing page. The actual product can be the landing page. And once they click create test, then I can open a model and say, hey, you should tell us what's your email so that we can send you the video or something like that. And we cannot make it feel like a boring sign up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share my Framer screen, because, yeah, on the skates, it's a bit tough to do all these. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a try and see how it goes. Of course, when it comes to design, you never know if your idea is gonna work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give it a try, prototype it, see how it feels, and then decide if I want to proceed with this idea or I should follow a different strategy for the landing page. I also have some screenshots from Typefully to make it easier for me to use it as a reference in Framer. So let's see, here's the screen. Let me check the lights that I see. You mentioned your offline first way of thinking. Yeah, that's a good comment about the offline first. So the what the offline first is, that Nick Van is referring to, is when you design a product or a website or whatever in the digital world, it's better to first think how it works in the offline world. So, for example, the Apple Wallet or the Google Wallet in the mobile iPhone or Nexus, whatever device you may use, replicates on a UI level how a real wallet feels. Because as a user, I'm using a wallet, and the transition to the digital world, should be something similar. So it makes sense to use this mental model where you always think about how it is in the offline world and try to replicate something similar in the digital world. This way you can make sure that it's easy to use and people can actually find everything easier. It's what we call intuitive design, that I expect that things work as they should. It's like things work as I expected them to work. So for a landing page and a website, definitely it's the same thing. And an analogy you can use there is sometimes the store, like the outside space of a store, where you actually, you're about to enter a shop and you're gonna take a look and try to find the things that you're looking for. So let me think about it. For this case, what makes sense to do is I'm gonna add the logo quickly. This is a temporary logo that I did with the pink color. It's not also final, but we don't really care at this point. I'm looking for a text input. It should be inputs, track field. Yeah, this one should do the job. I feel something is wrong with the side screen. Let's make it an iPad Air or even Pro 11. Yeah, this feels better, the sizing of the screen. So we wanted to add a label. This is gonna be the link to test. Yeah, for this one, we need a text area for the scenario. Text area. Find the button, input radius, setMedit, select. Does this support text area functionality? Yeah, so it does itself. Nice. So link to test is not clear enough. Maybe we could just add link to your app website or prototype. This is temporary copy. Like while I design, I always have something temporary there so that I don't focus too much on the details in order to map out the overall concept and see if it makes sense to proceed. 20. Then for the product description, we could say this. Describe describe your product. And then we could say describe the problem solved and the overall solution you provide. For the scenario, you could say describe what people should give you feedback on. For these two, they're very vague. Like it's not clear. Okay, you want me to describe my product, but I don't really understand how much content should I write there and how exactly to describe it. So what's really helpful is to use examples. In this case, we could add an example below the label. For example, yeah, I'm gonna copy a description. I have an example to use that I want to make a test for, let's say. It's for another product that I'm working on with Scotty called PandaSnap. So I already have some text to use from this one, which makes it very convenient for the session. Panasonic website. And how you solve it. Okay, and then for the scenario, I'm gonna do the same. Okay, found it. So in the examples the examples that I add is the product is PandaSnap, and the description is PandaSnap is a website that allows freelance designers to build their own design collections by letting them screenshot and record apps and the websites they love. This way, they can build their own design collection and use it as a source of inspiration for their projects. What's really helpful for this, why I want to ask people to describe the product that they want to ask feedback on, is to help the testers get a better understanding on what the product actually is. And the best way to describe a product is by writing 2 or 3 sentences where you describe the problem in simple words and then the overall solution you provide. You don't want to get into too many details there. And then the scenario that I have here is I want them to, the example is that you want them to test the sign-up flow. So you just say, sign up for Panda Summit, are your first item to your collection. So we want the link, the product description, then describe the scenario to make them consistent copy-wise. You want the button to create the test. So the rule with the call to actions is a call to action should explain what's going to happen if you take the action. In this case, if you click the button, you want to know as many details as possible about what's going to happen if you click the button. So in this case, it would make sense to say something, create test, but this is not, maybe it's not explicit enough. So what I would say is generate test link. Yeah, it feels too technical, like it doesn't feel like simple enough as copy, but let's just use this one for now. What else? Yeah, as I had in my sketch notes, we want also the name, the product name. The reason I want that is the following. So the first screen that I started designing some weeks ago, I started designing this product by designing this screen, which is the most important one, because this is where people will read the test and will give feedback. And that's the whole point of the product, is to build a super easy tool where people can give you feedback by recording themselves using your product and thinking out loud without installing an extension or any other tool or any other software. Once I decided, like, I understood what I need to include in this page content-wise, I realized that it's super important to have the person that asks for feedback. Most of the design tools, like for example Hodar or survey tools, they just send you an impersonal form where they say the company name, like PandaSnap wants to know more about you, please fill out the survey. And this doesn't feel human in any case. It's just too boring, and the chances that you're going to give feedback are not that high because you don't feel you're talking to a human and you don't know even if they're going to read your feedback. So my conclusion was UX-wise that it should be as much human-centered as possible. And thinking about the offline world, in this case, if there was not this tool, the way to get this kind of feedback where people think out loud and use the product is to jump into a call with them. So I would have to plan a Zoom call, start discussing with them, and ask them some questions, and ask them to try to sign up for PandaSnap and think out loud. So as I said before, think offline first is one of the main mental models that I use. And this is like my guidance on designing this product, how the call would feel like, and how can I simulate this experience into a tool, into the user flow of this tool. That's why it's so important to have the avatar and the first name of the person that you're gonna send your feedback, because on the offline world, you're giving feedback to somebody. You don't complete a survey or anything. You're actually talking to a specific person from a specific company. Therefore, here, it's important to, as the person that creates the test, this is crucial, and you need to add your first name and your company details. So for this one, think about the sign-up flow later. It's gonna be maybe if it's gonna be with a social link, then it makes it easier to get some details from there. But I think it's better just to add everything in here. Would it make sense to make clear where I'm reading the lights up notes. Could it make sense to make clear where this information is displayed to the tester? Maybe you could even replicate the product UI here. Yeah, that's also a good idea. Is ideally you want them to see what the person that will give feedback will see. So the idea that England wrote makes total sense, is to take this UI as it is and just make it editable for the person that is creating the test. That could work, maybe. It's a bit complicated because on a technical level, it's really hard to maintain. So it's one of the moments where you compare like the UX value you get and the technical complexity that you create. So in this case, because the information that you need to provide for the test are not that many, I wouldn't do this because it can make it pretty complicated. But you can make something similar. The best thing is to let them preview maybe the test or create the test and see how it feels without like sending it to anybody, so that they can test it before. It's similar to for example, if you create a newsletter, you can always send a test mail and see how it feels in your inbox and see the real thing. And the editor is visually is close to what you're gonna see in your email, but it's not the exact same because it's really hard to replicate. So let me think a bit about it to see if it's indeed too complex technically. It's the first screen where you introduce yourself, and then this one. Yeah, I think it's gonna make it too complex for no big reason. So keeping that in mind, let's try the following. Yeah, preview, I think, as you wrote in the live chat, makes most sense. Like if you're on a large desktop, you can even have it side by side where you fill in the details and you see your test getting created on the right, or you can just have a button that opens a new tab or shows the test in a modal. Describe your product, describe the scenario. And then we need the about you information. And what we want is first name. Don't care about like the full details, and the last name is like how we should call them. I would say product name. Yeah, let's go for these for now. This should be enough. And then generate test. So let's do some UI quick fixes. Make them the same width, 500. Align them. Align everything. Center. Nice. Generate test link, I don't feel I like it. Let's make it great. A bit of a challenge on this product that I haven't found the solutions yet is how to actually call the entity that you create. Should it be a user test? Should it be a feedback? I don't know, like a feedback form, or test is very common, like user test is very common in the design industry, but it's not common in the everyday world. Like not everybody knows what a user test is. Let's look at the website. So a very popular example is Try My UI. What they say is, let's try it free. Yeah, it's not the best UX in any case. Okay, what are some other tools? The Brain, User Brain, I think it's called. Usability Hub is one of the best ones, UX-wise. Yeah, create new test. That's what they have. Yeah, Usability Hub is already a successful company, so it's a safe bet to follow their copy, at least for the first prototype, and then see if I can come up with something better. For now, in order to map out the flow and build something that does the job at first, it's good to go with this one. So they say create new test. Yeah, let's take a deeper look, by the way. Test name, language, project. That's a good one. So for project, that's why it's sometimes good to look at other products with a bigger team than you and more experience as well. Instead of product, they say project. And with project, it's more clear because it can mean app, website, prototype, whatever. So describe your project, I think it's a good one. Allows demo test. Let's create a quick one, actually. Let's make a 5-second test. Or just questions. It's really weird that they have the save over here, but whatever. Okay. You build, and then you set up a link. You open the link, and then you get the results. So Usability Hub is pretty similar. Like, it doesn't do what thinkoutloud is gonna do, but it's more about it's a user testing tool, but it has other forms of user testing, like 5-second test, surveys, and so on. It's not about recording your screen and your voice via the microphone. But the UX they have and this flow is actually the same. You set up your test, you get the link to recreate people, and then you can access your results. So back to our landing page, you can have link to your project. And then in the placeholder, we can say, for example, given is link to your project, describe the scenario you want to test. Instead of saying about you, I would try out something different, like make it personal. Yeah, just as a placeholder to remind myself that, hey, try to not go with the traditional boring label. Let's add a disclaimer here that it can be a website, a design prototype, or a web app. For native apps, we're not gonna take it into consideration at this point. Yeah, good point on the without copying everything. I'm trying, like, the way that I use other products is more to just get inspiration and understand things. Like, it's like coding. If you wanna do like a sign-up authentication, you're gonna research about tutorials and about how successful sign-up architectures look like and what kind of libraries they use. Or when it comes like to overall coding, what kind of architecture they have, how they split their code, and so on. So it's similar on design. Looking into successful products, like successful for you, can give you a lot of answers when you struggle with something. And sometimes truth is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So it also helps you speed up the process of designing something. Okay, what else should be here? So let's say you land on this page. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to make a dirty prototype. This doesn't look nice in any case. The logo is off over here. We can literally, in this case, we can drop the logo. I'm trying to map out the flow. So I have two options now. Either I'm gonna continue designing this screen until I make it final, where I start adding all the UI details, or I'm just gonna design the user flow and see how it feels. And in my case, I'm gonna go for the user flow so that I can understand what the concept should be and how it should feel, how it should work. And then I can get into details, see where I should display the logo, what should be the typography size, and so on. But the tricky and hardest part is to get the flow right. That's why I'm gonna stick to a dirty prototyping approach, or we call it also rapid prototyping. So let's add another screen. Let's delete everything. So once you click on create test, what's gonna happen is I fill in the details, I create the test. I should just see a link where I can give it a try and the results. So let's write down some notes. I'm gonna have link of the test to share. That's what I need. And then a place to find a page. Yeah, let's call it place to find the incoming. So once I create a test, these are the two main things that I care about. I want to be able to share it with somebody, and I want a place where I can see all the feedback from them. I see a question in the live chat. It's if there is still going to be a separate marketing page, how will I know what the product is about? That's a good one. Yeah, for sure there will be. And for this one, there are two approaches. So what Typefully does, and it's super cool, is yeah, now I have, that's my account. Let's go with yeah, actually I have a screenshot. They trigger a model. So once you go into it, so you can either have a separate page or just open a model if you don't have so much content to communicate. In our case, it makes sense to show a model because the product can be described in like 1-2 sentences. Then I can add some notes about the pricing, that it's free, let's say for your first 10 videos, whatever. For now, let's pretend it's gonna be free forever. And yeah, just a dismiss button where you say, okay, I got it, and then you can check out the product. So for this one, let's try to design it quickly now. I already made a model, not for this use case, but we can use the same. And what I would do is, like, whenever you visit the website, you will the domain, you will see this modal. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the model here because, yeah, now I'm gonna get a bit confused if I focus on the marketing side of it. Let me think. Here we want the link and the place where people will receive the feedback. Okay, where should we focus on? Okay, I feel I'm a bit blocked design-wise. So what I do in this case is, when I look at the screens, sometimes I feel I cannot find a solution. Like, okay, I cannot really understand how it should be. So what really helps is to take a step back and focus on sketching and write down the user journey. So I'm gonna share my iPad screen again and give it a try. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna try to sketch down what's the overall user journey for somebody that tries to test out Think Out Loud. Okay, nice. There is a question, so you assume that the user already knows what they want to do. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, the way that I see it is, when I visit a domain, especially when it comes to specific tools like Think Out Loud, people will be probably looking for a tool to collect feedback. So, for example, the way to visit a web page. So actually, let's make it part of the user journey. First, you read somewhere about Think Out Loud. This is the offline, like, user journey. You're gonna read somewhere, or somebody else, or hear about it, or somebody else send you the link, let's say. In both cases, oh, good one. Now it should work. Okay, yeah, thanks for the notice. So first, you're gonna you're gonna read somewhere about Think Out Loud, or you're gonna hear about it from somebody. So either a friend, colleague, whatever, is gonna send you the link, or you're gonna read a post on social media. It could be an advertisement or a link that somebody shared, a tweet, and so on. In all cases, there will be some context. Like they will, if you see, let's say, a tweet from a friend, they may say that I found Think Out Loud and it's a very useful tool to collect feedback from users. Make sure to give it a try or something like that in order to visit this page, because the link could be also that, hey, I want to collect some feedback for my product. Please open this link, and this link is the Think Out Loud. But that link is gonna redirect you to the page where you give feedback, and as a person, you open the link in order to give feedback to that person and not to sign up for Think Out Loud. So for that use case, we don't care about the sign-up flow, and we don't want to bother them. It's all about the feedback that they're gonna give, and it shouldn't be too intrusive, or we shouldn't promote Think Out Loud too much. So this scenario is that you click the link because you're interested into trying out this tool, and probably you already know what this tool does, but in any case, we're gonna explain. So this is how everything starts on the user journey. You heard about it or you saw it somewhere online. Then what's gonna happen is, should I go? Yeah, let's go to the right side. Let's say I see a tweet. Then I'm gonna open the link and I'm gonna land on the landing page. No, visit, sorry. To learn more. And then what I'm gonna do is, once I open the landing page, I want to check out the following. Check what this tool does. I would say understand. Yeah, sorry for my typing skills. Then understand. I'll check the pricing so that I can understand if it's a tool, in case I'm interested, if I can use it, or if it's too expensive, let's say. Yeah, what would be another point that we always want in a landing page? Have a link to more info, like the about, who made this product. Take more info about the team. That's something that I find always useful. It may not look very important for a product marketing website, but presenting yourself as the founder, let's say, behind the product is very important, because people do not just buy a tool, they also trust, by buying a tool, they also trust the team behind it. So it's always nice to make the experience a bit more personal and talk a bit about yourself and the rest of the team as well, on why you made this product, how you made it, who are you, and so on. So more info about the team and the vision, let's say, the vision of the product. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much enough for now. And like, what actions? Yeah, these are the informations that I want to find. And what are the actions that I want to take? is, in case I like it, I want to create a test. In case I don't like it, I'm gonna just close the page. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. By far, and I also want to know what the flow is going to be. Yeah, I agree on this, like to get a sense of the product. So when I say understand what this tool does, it also includes plus how it works. So we could have a recording where we create a test, or you can just have a link, try it instead, where you actually create a test. So let's see. The other question is, does the pop-up already explain that it's video feedback? Could theoretically also be a survey. Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. For this one, what really, yeah, it really comes to does the pop-up already explain that it's, yeah, for on the how this tool, what this tool does, it's where we need to explain that, like if it's a video feedback or a survey. And indeed, the try it as a tester idea is a useful one, where you can just open an example test and give it a try and see how it feels. So for this one, how are we gonna explain what this tool does? One way is link to test to exam. Yeah, link to example. Then the how it works, we could validate this through user testing, but we could ask them to actually create a test. So the how it works, link to example. The how it works is a bit self-explanatory. So what I mean is, if you take a test as a user and see how it feels to give feedback, so you can see what the people you're going to ask for feedback are going to see, then the flow of creating a test doesn't need a lot of explanation because it's one page. So we don't need, we could just have a GIF, like where you click the create test and then you get your link, just to make it easier. But I would try instead to not do it, just to validate that we need it for sure. And I will just show this page, ask them to fill in the details, and then create the link. So you don't really need to explain how the part of the test creation works, because it's so simple. It's just one page and 5 inputs. So what a tool does, link to example. Where you can give feedback. We want a link to a video as well, because as a user, when I'm trying it out, I don't want to record myself. So the link to example is what users will see. And the feedback video is what you will receive. So these are the two main things that you want to be able to see before you create a test. For the pricing, this can be literally one sentence of text. It doesn't matter for now. It can be like on the information model, and then check more info about the team. This also can be just a link somewhere. So what's the best way to move forward? Now by mapping out the user journey, we understood what kind of information we need to display, and now we can think about how to add all these in an easy to use way in the UI. First thing is to define the content, and that's what we did. Link to example what users will see. So okay, let's think for 1 minute. What's the best way to move forward? Okay, I'm gonna share my computer screen again. Nice. And give it a try. So I'm gonna write down from the sketch notes what we just defined, or I can add a quick screenshot as well. 1 sec. Link to example, link to a feedback video. So once I open the screen, I have no clue what this tool does. So it makes sense to show a model at first. Therefore, let's try the following. I'm gonna simulate it. So normally you will see the product in the background. Now I just have a green overlay to keep things simple. I can drop the X. it's not really needed. We're gonna have the actions over here. So we can have the name of the product, which makes sense, and the icon. So think out loud. A simple tool to what was the description that I had? I written. Actually, let's write anyone now. A simple tool to collect. What you do with this tool is you collect videos. Simple tool to collect videos of people using your product and they think instead of thinking out loud. This is more clear. So let's keep this as a copy for now. This kind of copywriting, especially when it comes to describing the product in a simple way in one sentence, it's always one of the most tough. Like, it's easy to say just describing them in one sentence, but it's always very tricky to simplify your product idea to that level. So let's go for this one for now and see how it works. I seem to collect videos of people using your product and expressing what they think or describing. For some reason, it makes sense for me to have here see an example, because you're like, okay, cool, you told me it's a tool to collect videos that do this, but like by this I mean where they use your product and describe how they think and how they feel. And what would make sense for me is to actually have a video over here with an example, a short one. So we can add video. I can add one from I have a user testing session on my YouTube channel. So this one. Yeah. Let's copy this link. And of course, this is just a placeholder video. This one would be nice to be around, I don't know, like a quick one around 1 minute max, where I talk in the video and describe that, hey, this is an example video of a user, of a person, like, I don't know, like a friend of mine using a tool called whatever the name of the example tool is. And then I saw maybe a fast forward version of them describing the product, or just like a trailer, a sneak peek of how they give feedback. And below we can, once you understand what the video that people, so here you understand what kind of feedback people will give to you if you use this tool. So if you take the example, you can understand if this product is for you. So you're like, okay, I really want this kind of feedback. It really fits my case. So let's give it a try. So the main call to action should be try it out or give it a try. Or actually create your test. I like it more. It's more explicit instead of saying just give it a try. Like, the way that you give it a try is by creating your own test. So it makes sense to make the call to action more clear. create your test. And what is the other call to action that we want? In case you already have an account, it would make sense to have a login button here. So what we could say is already have an account, sign in. Make it a bit bigger because it's like a bit hidden. And make this bold and blue for now, or the brand color. Here it can be the pricing disclaimer. So below the example, we can say that it's fully free. So simple tool to collect feedback. Okay. So UI wise, how it looks, the way that I like it is to have this as a node below the sign up button, and then have this more disconnected visually by adding more white space. Come on. Yeah, looks decent. Think out loud, a simple tool to collect videos of people using your product and describing what they think and how they feel. This is an example. The title here can be literally what's an example. Then create your test, give it a try. It's 100% free. Already have an account, sign in. So it looks like you get the idea of what kind of feedback you're gonna ask, and also you will see behind the product. So when you click create your test, you're gonna go here. But now I see create your test, create test. It doesn't really make sense to have the same call to action. It feels weird. So this call to action doesn't create a test. It takes you to the page to create a test. So what would be the right thing to say? Okay, let's go for the try it out for now. It does its job. I mean, also before I said that it's better to have more explicit call to actions. This is more of a guideline. It's not a strict rule that if it's not super specific, then it's problematic. It's more of a guideline to have in mind. In this case, try it out won't really block people from clicking it. It's something that is safe to use. Also, like sign up is not always super clear call to action, and it works pretty well on web. So try it out. You land on this page. And at this point, you don't really have an account. So if you don't have an account, this button should ask you to create an account first. So let's add a new screen just to have it over here. The title sign up. We're gonna work on it later. Just have it as a placeholder to not forget about it. So what I missed from this page is the title. What this page is about. What do I see here? So it's create test, could be the title. Add the link to your product, describe your project scenario, and make it personal. Okay. Into your product. I think for the main call to action, what should be, I'm a bit confused on this one. Create a test, add a link to your project, describe your project, example the scenario, describe the scenario, make it personal. Create a project and then you sign up. So one thing that we miss for sure, and I think it will help to add, is a global navigation component. So it's like there will be many pages in the app, but we need some global components for the navigation. So it makes sense to add the logo. An avatar for your account as well. Let's say, and what else? What is gonna be the actual sitemap of the product? Yeah, what really? So now I want to design the global navigation, and I see that I don't really have any sitemap or something to follow. So what I can do is just draw some boxes of what's gonna be the information architecture of the app, which is also very interesting topic. So this is the app. Think out loud. This is more of a kind of a sitemap simulation, what I want to design. I think out loud the screens that it contains. It's gonna be your tests. So you may have multiple tests that you're collecting feedback for. Then you have your account settings. Let's drop there your account settings, tests, and what else? Yeah, the tests below, they will have the all tests. No, the subpages are new test. Edit existing test, edit test. The delete and the old tests are gonna live here. Then the account settings will have Yeah, they don't really need any subpage. It's just gonna be your name, your email, and your billing info. But it's free, so no need for billing info. It's just your your name and your email, and maybe your password. So this looks like it's the sitemap of the product. So the navigation component would make sense to have this is the new test page. Actually, what the idea that I suggest is like the landing page is gonna be the new test page. So let's see, because the complexity is getting increased. Like on the Typefully, the cool thing was that you don't have sub pages. Everything is in the model, because what they do is the test is just on the sidebar. So you don't really need any global navigation component. All the content is accessible through this interface. I could do the same, like I have some kind of a visible component where you can switch quickly instead of having a link, let's say on the top, where it says your test or something like that. Yeah, I think it would make sense. Like, we don't really need a different page for that. So we could even make it a sidebar and follow a similar layout. In this case, the way that the content is architectured on that one works pretty nice. So let's make a sidebar. I saw a question on the live chat. What about get feedback for the CTA? Makes sense. Maybe we could have something like, I'm writing down as an idea, start collecting feedback or something like that, because you get feedback feels like I'm gonna click it and I will start collecting, and I will collect feedback. I will receive feedback. But in this case, what we mean is start collecting feedback, or create test link to share or something like that. In general, call to action should be 1-2 words, 3 maximum. Like having a sentence or something is a bad practice. So yeah, we're gonna take a look later. In general, copying call to actions is tricky. I find it one of the hard things to do in UX design, because you're so limited there. So you really need to find a word that makes sense, and the context that you present buttons is also very important, because if you see just a button on a white page, you cannot really understand what it does. But if you see it with more details around it, then the details that surround the button can explain more about what it's gonna actually do. For example, here you say you have created a test, so even if we change it to submit or create, it's clear that it's gonna create a test, because this is the main heading of the page. So that's also an interesting insight, how the surroundings of the button can explain what it's gonna what it is going to do. So let's think about this sidebar, the Typefully UI. Let's bring it over here to have it close to our design. So as you can see, it's not that I found a competitor and I'm copying or something, or a product and I am just doing a copy of it. But what I do is, I saw that Typefully has a beautiful, first of all, it's a beautiful product. Like the way that it's designed, it's really nice, super smooth, and very minimal UI that I love, and I love it. So by trying to replicate things that they do, I understand more the reasoning behind their choices. And for example, with the sidebar, it's a nice pattern that they use. So finding patterns in other products and incorporating them into yours makes total sense. And it's not stealing in any case, because yeah, it's just a layout. It's not that you steal an idea or something like that. So okay. They have the new call to action over here in case you're into a test and you want to create a new one. So we could do actually the same. We have 3 containers. One is the sidebar, one is the header, and one is the content. So we have 3 containers for the product, for the interface. Let's add some borders to make it more clear. Top, right, bottom, left. Make it light in terms of darkness. Do the same here. Oh, my bad. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it looks a bit weird as well. Like you draft and then here it feels like we need a title for the test. And I'm thinking, should we have a title or should we use something else like the scenario? Yeah, we need one actually. So let's say that this is the title and this here is editable. We can call it new test. I was thinking of what happens when you create a new folder on the Mac. It says untitled folder actually. So let's make it untitled test for now. I don't like it, but let's just have something there. Create a test. Then you have the details. Yeah, something doesn't feel right. Let me think. It feels too much. Like previously, I really liked that there was just one area, just in the middle of the content. Now it feels too noisy. So what would be a good idea? Yeah, I don't feel I like the sidebar. It feels like, if you think about it, it takes so much space on the screen. And the scenario is like, I'm not gonna have too many tests. Like, I'm not gonna, like, what the sidebar serves in terms of needs is, first of all, quick overview of the test that I have and quick access to the other ones. In Typefully, it totally makes sense because it's a Twitter, a tool to write tweets. So it's like your notes. You want to be able to switch between your notes in a very easy way, because when you write notes, it's one of the things that you mainly do. But in our case, you don't create many tests in the same time, so it doesn't make sense to be so prominent. So I think it should be definitely dropped. Let me check the lights. I see there is a question. Why do I need to see the old tests? Yeah, exactly. That's also the same thing. Is that it creates too much noise for no clear reason. Like it doesn't create any real value. So it makes sense to actually drop it and find another way. So in this case, we have great test. Let's bring this to the center of the page. Then we have the header. Let's make the logos a bit smaller. It's too big. Oh, damn. Come on. Why? Yeah, whatever. Let's not spend time on this at the moment. So you want to create a test. And then if you have an account, you're gonna see this is the global navigation header. So we need the test and the account settings. So let's say that this is the avatar image. Choose. Go for this one. So let's say I have signed up. Still feels a bit weird. I don't know what's going wrong. It feels noisy. Like, yeah, on the visual aspect, the balance, of course, is not good because we're into the dirty prototypes, but I'm just thinking how to make it work, because if this wasn't a landing page and you could go through, like you could sign up and then you would be on your test page and then you would click a button, create a test, then it would be super easy to design. But this page needs to work as a landing page where you immediately land on it, and also as an inner page once you sign up. So that's the challenge, and it's something that I never tried before. So yeah, I don't know what to expect as well when it comes to the challenges while designing it. So you need access to your account settings, you need access to your tests. if this was a breadcrumb, let's say, it would be something like that. Mm-hmm. It's a bit tricky. Like if I didn't care about the landing page, about making it simple, I could just have this over here, and above I could have a your test link, make it like a breadcrumb, and just like this. But for a person that just visits the website, it feels a bit weird to have your test without even having an account. So maybe I'm just treating it the wrong way. And this page should have two states, the signed in and non-signed in. So let's give it a try. Because usually when it takes so much time, when I get so blocked, it's probably because I'm trying something that doesn't make sense, and I need to rethink the goal that I have. So this is, let's say, the non-signed in version. So in this case, you're gonna see a plain avatar. Let's make it just a gray circle now. Then we're gonna have a, you don't even need the avatar actually. No need to show an annoying button over there. As a guest, you want to see the logo of the app. Your test doesn't make sense because I don't have any tests. Why do you even see a page with my tests? The container adds too much, makes it stand out too much, and we don't need that. So the question is how the logo should look like. Should it be over here? And what should the logo actually do? So the logo, we need it in terms of branding because, yeah, when you use a product, you always see a website, especially a web product. In this case, a landing page, a website, you always need the logo to understand which product you're looking at. So we can either have it at the top, but it doesn't make sense to have it at the top because, on the other hand, there is no home page. It's not the traditional landing page. The other approach is to make it small somewhere on the left or add it somewhere in the footer. As a disclaimer, like powered by Think Out Loud. So what I'm doing, I felt that in the end the solution is going to be simple and I'm just overanalyzing it for no reason. What I'm doing, like if you if somebody sends you the link to give feedback, so let's say I signed up, I made a test, and then I send it to somebody, I send this link to somebody to give me feedback, that's what I see. So I don't really see any reference to Think Out Loud, just see this at the bottom in case I'm super curious on what kind of tool am I gonna use now to give this person some feedback. So we could try the same over here. A similar UI approach, I mean. So instead of, let's say, your, Your test. I made some components out of this. So maybe have a better one. Come on, where is it? Project powered by footnotes. Yeah, it's the same. Create your test, and then yeah, I'm reading on the live chat the comments. Yeah, that could remove the header when logged in, so the avatar in the upper right corner. Yeah, when they're logged in, we're gonna for sure show the avatar. For now, I'm not sure what is the right thing to do. So for this one, create your test. Let's move this outside the... Let's try to use it actually. That's something that I do to understand what I'm doing. Because when you look at a design for more than an hour, at some point you're blind, like you cannot really understand what you're building. Create your tests. Powered by thinkoutloud. This can trigger the model. So this doesn't look too bad. Maybe just me that I feel that I need to improve. Like one thing that I have many times on design, and it's not only me, I've seen it to other people as well, is trying to improve something, like trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. So right now, I need to take a step back and ask myself, okay, what problem am I trying to solve? And what is the thing that I'm actually blocked with? In this case, I said we need a main navigation component, but it turns out that it's not really needed because you haven't signed up yet. Once you create test and you sign up, maybe then we can update the UI and add something like that. But for a visitor that went through this model to this page, it's not really needed. So let's do the let's do the following. So I'm gonna do what I also suggest in my course: prototype, use how it feels, see how it feels, and decide if it needs to be improved. It's a very easy trap that I all fall into as well many times, because you need to make it a habit. Otherwise, you always end up overanalyzing everything. So let's do the following. I'm just gonna create a quick interactive prototype just to test out the flow. So first screen is this one. Yeah, I'm gonna make a quick hack to show the model. This one sec. It's more of a framer hack that I do, because I don't know at this point how to display model immediately. I'm gonna click the title to open it so that I have an element where I can access it. Model, sweet. So first screen is gonna be this model on top of the screen. Then I click try it out and I go here. So the transition will be go back, transition back to previous, yes. Then I will say create your test, and then I will have a part by think out loud. What would be a nice visual improvement is to make this with the color, just to keep it consistent, just to use the logo version of with the color. So I'm just gonna do it quickly. I'm gonna do this logo icon. Make it a bit more, I don't know, be darker, let's say. And once I click on create test, we're gonna trigger a model to sign up. So what's gonna happen is just gonna add a note. Okay, let's see how this looks like. So I'm on social media, wherever. I made a Google search and I found this tool. I opened the link and I end up on the website seeing this. Think out loud, a simple tool to collect videos of people using your product. I see an example video, click play, take a look. I have a button, try it out, already sign in. So there are three things that I can do, like either click outside of the model and see what's behind, or sign in, or try it out, that does the same thing. So let's close the model, then I see create your test. Add a link to your project. Yeah, I don't think it looks that bad. So I was trying to solve a problem that doesn't really exist. Of course, I'm gonna user test this in maybe tomorrow, because we have only 10 minutes left, and see if it's a problem that here there's no navigation or something like that. But now that I used it, I saw that, hey, as a user, I first see the screen. I'm on board that, hey, you're at the Think Out Loud domain, and here's the logo, here's a more branded element, and a bit of onboarding. And I take an action and say, I want to get rid of this model and see what's behind and create my first test. And now the only thing that I care is the create your test. So even this, we could say it's a bit prominent, and we're gonna improve it and make it a bit less prominent. So I provide the link, a description, I describe the product, I add the details, and then I click create test, and I get the sign up modal, which is like continue with email or something like that. We will find a interesting way to user-friendly way to ask for user details there, and not make it like now you have to sign up to continue and make it feel like a boring long process. So the last thing to work on this session is on the notes. Before, we said that a user wants to see the following. First, link to an example. This link exists over here. One question is, what if I close accidentally this model and I want to access it again? We need to add an element here that it's gonna open it again. So what we could do is have a learn more action here. So I'm just gonna add the placeholder for now quickly to not forget about it. See how it works. Link. Now, what I don't like with this one is it feels like an actionable item, and it's not. We can make it like a typical footer. So what I can do quickly, since I have the idea, is sometimes things are simpler than we think. Boom. And I don't even need part. We can just add like a copyright. What is the thing that websites usually use? The copyright, right? Yeah, this one. And in the footer, we can also add the details, the marketing related pages, like how it works, for example, is one of these, and the team behind it is another one. Let's add an about, and both of them are gonna trigger two different models. They don't need to be separate pages. These are just call to actions. Nice. So footer. Okay, and the other thing that we said is link to example. So here's the example. The example video is there, how it works, and link to feedback video. Now this is the video that we have, link to a feedback video, link to example of what users will see. Link of example. So we want somehow, like, I don't want to complete all the details because I'm not in the mood, let's say. I want to see how real test looks like. So we want to add a see an example action somewhere. We could have it over here, like and add it over here for reference, but create your test. And we can add some like curious to see what your test will look like. Take out an example and placeholder copy just to have something there. Now that I'm thinking about it, this and this video are too disconnected, and what I want to see is how people give feedback and what's the actual feedback that they give. So I would like them to have more connected in some way. I don't really like this approach where this video is hidden under the how it works and the other one is on the checkout an example. It doesn't make sense to me. So that the example what should show actually this link here to see what your test will look like. Yeah, this feels better. So what I'm trying out is just having an about link because it's really buried down in the footer, and have the checkout an example more to the top to make it more prominent. And this could open another modal, a new modal that what will this will include. It could be example recording. So yeah, let's add the video. Let's copy paste it. And then link the test that this person above used to give feedback. In this way, you can see both. And this is receive, so we can add some kind of titles. This is what here is what your users these are some placeholders again, but the idea is to display both links, the video and the link to the test. As you can see on the, like today that I focus mostly on mapping out the flow, I don't really focus on UI or anything. My UI feels like broken, like no, I just do mistakes on purpose because I don't want to spend time aligning things and making it look perfect. I'm literally focusing on the user flow and finding how to structure content. Because, for example, I realized that, yeah, take out an example, these two things should be close to each other, and then we should use a modal. If I spend time on finalizing the UI every single time, it's going to take forever. So first, I just work on the journey, the overall flow, try to build a dirty, visually bad, let's say, prototype to test out if the steps and the way that I fill in details and everything make sense. And then I try to improve it visually and make it easier to scan it and so on. So this feels like a good progress for the day. It's already 7:10 p.m. We have one new message on the light chat. I would want to see the video before I give the creative test form. What do you think about this? Yeah, that's the goal. Like when you open when you visit thinkoutloud.io, this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see immediately the model with this video, so you can get a clear overview of what the product does. And then when you close it, you're gonna see this, and you will have an action to reference the information that you saw over here. And I will add a note here as well. Includes also info from onboarding, let's call it modal, what the tool does. So yeah, I think for today, that's pretty much it. And tomorrow I'm gonna do another live stream where I'm gonna focus. Yeah, I'm just gonna continue working on this and try to get a prototype done so that I can later user test it and see if it makes sense and decide if I should iterate on this or if it's good to go and start implementing it with Scott. So yeah, I think I feel and hope that it was, that the session was useful. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And yeah, talk to you tomorrow, guys. Thank you. And thanks.